I'm here to pick up my sister. Howard Needham sat across from Carter at a long wooden table usually reserved for political meetings. It wasn't often Carter actually met with werewolves from the lesser packs. He had representatives for that kind of grunt work. This meeting was special, though. Howard Needham was the alpha of a small, straggling pack in Lansing. Their bloodline was so weak that it would only be a matter of time before it was snuffed out completely. That's why Howard had come to Carter in the first place. He had brought his sister, Karen, in for a werewolf reform. At least, that's what he had told Carter's secretary. The truth was, he had dropped her off in the hopes that Carter would get her with Pup. A seed from his tree was the only chance of putting enough werewolf blood back into their small pack to make a difference. Typically, Carter would breed with a female and then send her on her way. Karen was different, though. The way she defied Carter, the way her wolf struggled against him, made him feel a thrill he normally only got during the hunt. She was his prey, and beyond that, she absolutely fascinated him.
I'm concerned about your sister's inability to shift properly.
Carter propped his elbows up on the table and steepled his hands. In truth, he was more concerned with the sheer lack of wolf in her blood. But saying that out loud would be a slight. Even the most human werewolves have pride. That is part of why I brought her here. Howard's chocolate eyes fell to the table, and Carter could see the shame behind them. The same shame he had seen when Karen spoke about her wolf. This is where they talked in riddles to each other. Howard wasn't dense enough to think that Carter was actually capable of making Karen more lichen. She would never be more lichen than she was right now, the tiny shred that still remained. Part of the reason she was able to resist him was because her wolf blood was so weak. In truth, she was far more human. Carter doubted there was anything more he could do for her. Still, he didn't want to let her go.
With your permission, I'd like to keep her for another night. Tonight is the full moon.
He made it sound like an option. No alpha could resist the will of the regional alpha. Carter only needs say the word and his wish would be fulfilled. Do you really think that's safe? Howard looked unsure. It was a well-known fact that shifting with anyone outside of your own pack had the potential to be dangerous. Most lichens lost their humanity completely when they shifted. Introducing a new wolf into an already established pack meant that there would be hierarchy trials, and likely violence. Carter's expression was sincere.
Don't worry. I'll take her away from the pack.
Who would be left in charge? Howard furrowed his brow.
My beta will lead the others. He has good control over his wolf. The others will follow him.
Carter nodded assuredly. It wasn't very often that Carter shifted away from his pack, but when he did, he always left Kenny in charge. Kenny was an older wolf, and the pack respected him greatly. In all the years that Carter had been the regional alpha, Kenny had never let him down. Howard slumped in his chair, looking stressed. While he had made Karen think he would be dropping her off at Sky High Ranch for an entire month of reform, he never intended for that to be the truth. One night with Carter should have been enough to change her behavior. Connecting with his wolf would make her submit, and she would return to her pack a better lichen for it. Whether Howard liked this idea or not, though, at the end of the day, he really had no say in it. If Carter wanted to keep Karen, it had to be for a good reason. Besides, the longer Karen stayed at Sky High Ranch, the more likely she was to become pregnant. Even if the pup wasn't Carter's, it would have more wolf blood in it than if Karen continued on her regular path of mating with humans. The Needham pack could definitely use a pup with stronger wolf blood to help keep their lineage alive. Am I allowed to know your game plan? Howard straightened himself, giving in to the regional alpha's will, though not without a bit of curiosity.
I just want to observe her.
Carter knew it wasn't the answer Howard had hoped for.
Being close to her during the full moon might help to force her shift, and when we're both wolves together, I'll be able to imprint on her better.
It was ever the slightest admission to the fact that their mating hadn't exactly achieved what Carter had initially intended, for Karen to lose some of her free will for the benefit of her pack. Carter wasn't about to confess that in less cryptic terms, though.